and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Rasslin Report. And here's your host, Rated R for Wrestling and Jonesy Chats Wrestling.
What is up? We are back, another episode of the Rasslin Report, and I'm joined once again by my main co-host, Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Jonesy, brother, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a good week. Lots to talk about this week, especially. There's loads to talk about this week.
Yeah, it's been a solid week in professional wrestling as we get closer and closer to AEW Full Gear and closer to WarGames, which is looking not as the way we thought it might have looked, especially on the men's side in terms of the WarGames match. But we're going to get into that. Early comment, Noob & Co., as per usual, joining us every morning for the Rasslin Report. What's going on, Noob & Co.? We're doing great. Thank you for joining us, man. So, yeah, the week of professional wrestling was what it was. Jonesy, what are your thoughts overall on the week of the pro wrestling?
Yeah, I think it kind of did what it did. There's so much to talk about coming out of WWE again. But yeah, no, I kind of enjoyed it. I think it's been a good week. Really excited for this AEW pay-per-view next Saturday. The $1 million question, are you going or not?
As of right now, yes. As
Cool.
of right now,
Awesome.
yes. As of right now, yes. I will be there in attendance. Things tend to happen, but as of right now, I should be there in attendance. So, with pro wrestling, it seems like right now WWE still continues to have all the momentum in terms of news and newsworthy things going on and more takeaways from their show than AEW. AEW seems to be just waiting for MJF to win the title and then start rolling from there, get the elite back and everything like that. So would you agree that AEW has been lackluster in terms of like noteworthy stuff coming out of it each week?
Yeah, I think ever since Tony Khan got Ring of Honor, he can't seem to cope with it all. AEW seems to be second. This pay-per-view, to be fair, I think looks okay. And I just think that they're really kind of lacking. The problem is, whereas before you'd gone out and got a John Moxley as a Dean Ambrose or that type of level of talent, now you're going out to get Jeff Jarrett.
Yep.
It's almost like the well was dried up a bit for these talents. But I'm hoping after this pay-per-view it'll be a reset. Obviously, we're going to get the Young Bucks back and Kenny Omega, which will be good. That'll be a good return, I think. But just finally give the belt to MJF, and then we can finally move forward with whatever they want to do, really, going into the sort of 2023, really.
Yeah, they're like in a holding pattern. It feels kind of like they're waiting for just a reset and treating Full Gear this year as a WrestleMania to kind of refresh and everything and have a big debut fest after the event takes place. So we'll see what happens going forward. But let's get into our first topic of the day, and it's The Rock and a WrestleMania update. What you got for us, Jonesy?
Yeah, this is a batshit crazy storyline. So The Rock, apparently at the moment, there's real concern about him, sort of how they're going to book him at WrestleMania, because he's obviously in Black Adam and all this other stuff. Like, they're concerned if he loses at WrestleMania to Roman Reigns, that him as Black Adam will be kind of weakened and it will weaken his Hollywood career. He's only doing the XFL. He's only doing this WrestleMania if he does it because of XFL starting next year. And they're throwing around ideas at the moment to do a tag team match at WrestleMania as a backup, where you'd have Jey Uso and The Rock versus Jimmy and Roman. And what they would probably do is they'd have all three of them turn on Rock, so Rock looks still strong. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I was really kind of surprised to hear that The Rock is concerned about sort of that people can't differentiate, that he's a movie star compared to his wrestling character. I think it was a bit batshit crazy for me, in all honesty. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I nowadays you see memes that like people don't like know Dwayne Johnson, but they don't know The Rock kind of thing. So I don't think it correlates. I mean, how much crossover really is there between individuals that like his movies that genuinely like his movies to the wrestling fans that remember him as the wrestler? I don't think there's much there. It's similar to like, any other celebrity, coming in, winning or losing. It didn't hurt, a lot of people. It doesn't make much sense. The guy's already done so much in pro wrestling. This won't hurt him whatsoever. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Him losing to John Cena the second time around at WrestleMania, that didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt his movie career whatsoever. He was, he's only gotten, even more popular since that time. So it doesn't really makes no sense. And then splitting up the Usos in that sense, I guess is like, one of them believes one of them is, whoever they're partnering with is the head of the table, really, and that's what you're really going for. But then I think it's cheap, it's weak. I hope it's not the way it's going to go down if it does go down. And yeah, I don't think to me, it'd be ridiculous to think it'll have some type of effect on his Black Adam character or him as a superhero or, anything like that. That can be done by DC by themselves, on their own, they can do that. But, wrestling one match against Roman Reigns really isn't going to change much of that.
What the concern is obviously if you're going to see Black Adam versus Superman, which is the next chapter, so to speak, that Roman Reigns can beat Black Adam, yet Black Adam can beat Superman. It's just absolutely ludicrous. Like the fact they don't think fans can tell a difference between that.
It's ridiculous.
I think hopefully it's not the case, but if it does happen, look for Jey Uso to carry a lot of the workload and stuff like that. Jey Uso will be the one that does a lot of the sort of jobs and stuff like that on the road to it. But yeah, I'm surprised. Apparently, since Vince McMahon's gone and Triple H is in charge, there's like real doubt of sort of the validity of sort of how he's going to be booked in this run, because they want him to do a run in between January and March appearances and stuff like that. But for me, this doesn't need a title. Hopefully by that point, Roman would have lost the belt. That's what I'm hoping, because it should just be a one-on-one match. And hopefully, obviously, The Rock should really do this as a last match to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns doesn't need a lift anymore, but I would do that. I think there's just concern the way that he lost to John Cena at WrestleMania 29. They just don't want that to happen for The Rock. But I'm surprised they think fans don't know the difference between the two characters. It's just, I heard that and it was ridiculous this week, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds extremely asinine when you think about it. Like, you know, them not being able to separate the two. Like, oh, Roman can beat Black. It just makes no sense. You have to be living like in a different reality to actually think that that's an actual plausible thing, and that would make sense to you. And then that would somehow hurt a matchup people want to see between Black Adam and Superman. It doesn't make much sense. Numiko, well, you also got the XFL 3.0 The Rock is running. Yeah, so he's going to promote the living hell out of that.
That's the only reason why he's there. That's the only reason why I do the match.
And it's going to start around that time when he probably shows up, right? So right after Super Bowl. So it's taking place, I believe, at either end of February or early March, right around WrestleMania season. So that makes total sense, even though it's probably going to be a mess, just like the XFL has always been. But we'll see if he's able to have the magic touch on that. Yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous topic, to be honest with you. If you really think about it, the thought process behind that is absolutely just bonkers.
Yeah, it's one of the most insane topics we've probably discussed so far. But when I heard that this week, I was like, oh my God, that's just ridiculous. What do they think of the wrestling fans? It makes wrestling fans sound like idiots, which majority of us are not. Fair.
Exactly. It makes it look like really stupid if they think you're going to think that. But Rock WrestleMania update. I mean, so as of right now, it's still all signs seem to point to Rock Reigns at WrestleMania in some form or another.
Yeah, they're having trouble getting hold of The Rock, supposedly, but I think it will happen. This XFL thing, they need the lift with that. They were going to do Rock and Roman last year, but because the XFL got delayed, it's this year, and I think they've got to do it, really. The backup, obviously, is Cody and Roman. If they can't do that, that's one they're going to work on. But, yeah, for me, this is the match they're going to do. It's all about WrestleMania this year. It's all about Hollywood. It's all about bringing people in. You're looking at stars coming in to try and give that Hollywood lift. But if it doesn't happen this year, when else will it happen, if that makes sense? I think this is the time to do this match.
No, yeah, I totally agree. It's one of those things where, like, okay, it's the location. That's all that matters. The location, new stadium. You want it to be massive. You want it to be huge. You want it to be mainstream as possible. So we're probably gonna have a litter of celebrities there, just kind of pandering around and trying to get people to show up and watch it and everything like that. So it is what it is. It's very WWE-esque. It's WrestleMania-esque. We know the deal already, how they work, how they operate. But this could be like maybe an undercard of more. Of more talent that we want to see showcased on a stage like that, which is something you can look forward to. The main event may be all like, pomp and circumstance with The Rock being there and stuff like that, but hopefully the rest of the card is more of a pro wrestling card with Triple H at the helm. Something we haven't seen in WrestleMania. Hopefully they'll do the thing where they put multi-man matches, multi-women matches to get everybody on the card. Hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully it's a little bit more sound, and we'll get, some really good matches coming out of it. All right, next topic, Cameron Grimes in the main roster.
Yeah, so WWE want him to come up. He's got to finish his stuff with Joe Gacy, and then he's looked set to come up. I'm excited. This guy's talented. He's overdue to go up. I just don't know where he fits in. Like, I don't know. I don't really see him up there with the upper echelons of the main roster, but I think he could be fun. I don't really know sort of where he fits. So that's the thing with this. I think he could add a sense of comedy maybe to the show a little bit. But I think it's a good addition. This guy's pretty seasoned. He obviously had a great run in Impact Wrestling as well, where he's pretty good. He's done some great work on NXT. Coming up with the money character again, maybe something to do. Look for him to probably feud, if I'm putting a long guess out now, Baron Corbin versus him seems to be a good program that they can do, which would kind of fit with both of them having money. But that's my only pick, really.
Yeah, I mean, could we see, similar to the LA Knight storyline where we have Ted DiBiase come in and it's DiBiase and JBL with Corbin and, Cameron Grimes. I always thought he was a fun character. I didn't really like him so much in the beginning, but once he started doing the money gimmick and that I thought he was a lot of fun in NXT. It's just, do you carry over the same kind of gimmick? Do you kind of change him up a little bit? Do you run the same way? That's going to be interesting to see how they book Cameron Grimes coming forward if he comes to the main roster. But He's obviously a guy that Triple H likes a lot. He's a solid guy in ring. He has a good character. He has a good, gift. He has, good gift of gab on the mic. He bought in completely with the character. Very energetic guy. So I think it'll be solid. But yeah, he's definitely a mid card talent. And kind of middle to the lower end of the card type of guy in WWE. But you need guys like that. So it could be a good solid spot for him. Again, he could get lost in the shuffle because of all the comebacks, everybody showing up after Triple H took over. So you run that risk as well. So it's tough, but they have tons of guys coming through the system in NXT. Every season or so, they have new trainees coming in. So they got to keep having a revolving door at NXT and moving individuals up. It's just tough to book everybody at once, similar to AEW. SCW's come back to watch the Rasslin Report. Thanks, Steve, for joining us, man. We are doing well, brother, as per usual. Thank you for joining us and hope you're doing well as well, Steve. I will be on Steve's channel this upcoming week for some full gear shenanigans. So I'll be on there. Make sure you tune into SCW's channel. You probably already subscribed to him. Make sure you tune in. I believe it's Thursday. We're going to be going live for some full gear stuff. All right. So Cameron Graham's coming to the main roster soon. I think it's due time. He's been in NXT long enough, right? He's kind of running circles in NXT. So, we'll see where he comes up. But he's definitely one of those guys. Like, I look at it as them trying to create that Attitude Era-esque mid-card division guys vying for the Intercontinental title. You had a lot of those guys during that time period who were Intercontinental title contenders at all times. And, you need stuff like that to make that belt feel important, to make it feel competitive, to make it feel high stakes. You need guys, a lot of guys in that division to kind of keep that title important on the show.
You do.
Next topic after Cameron Grimes going to the main roster is the Hurt Business comeback in the works. So Hurt Business comeback has been around 2 times. There's been 2 iterations of the Hurt Business. The original, they broke up, they came back for a little tiny bit, then that disappeared. So can we be getting the Hurt Business one more time?
He looks good. Signs are positive. Obviously, Bobby Lashley told Radio Rahim in Saudi Arabia when he was over there that he'll make sure the Hurt Business gets back together. The Hurt Business was something everybody loved, and basically he's pitching out. Obviously, he's done this heel turn that we said would happen months ago. He's done that now. And I think for me, it makes sense. Cedric Alexander back on Raw this week, although he lost in his effort. The seeds are all there for them to come back, and I think they need something for potentially for somebody from NXT to come up and join them as well. And I think that will kind of help. I think the thing with this as well, WWE are really sort of looking for another stable. Bobby Lashley as a heel needs that stable around him, so to speak.
Yep.
And I think him being aligned with MVP potentially could be something we could see again. But I'd be a fan of this. I think the Hurt Business, if they're treated right this time, could be great.
Yeah, it was a really good team that everybody enjoyed, and everybody was really upset when they decided to break that team up. And we saw iterations of, Shelton with Cedric by themselves, and that didn't work out. Cedric upset, causing issues with Shelton Benjamin. They had beef. It's a team everybody wanted to see and was happy with. Didn't want to see break up. And with Bobby Lashley's current heel turn, post Crown Jewel, he's beating everybody up. It makes total sense for him to be there and have that. And then it also plays into for the Rumble and when the eventual third go around against Brock Lesnar, it's somebody for Brock Lesnar to throw around, right? He beats the living hell out of the rest of the Hurt Business. It doesn't have to be him and Lashley beating each other up all the time because that does get old.
Yep. I think the other one I was thinking about, my mind slip, was Carmelo Hayes. This is a great platform for Carmelo Hayes to come up. If you don't want to do Shelton Benjamin, like Shelton Benjamin's obviously still there. Carmelo Hayes would be a good fit for me. I think he'd be a great addition. And yeah, I really hope he's doing this. I think this could be what Hit Row isn't. I think this could be something where the fans get behind it. And I think Raw really does need another stable, although you've got a Judgment Day doing some fantastic work and the OC there. I think the Hurt Business really didn't get a fair run during the previous run-in and iteration in WWE. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I hope they do it. And yeah, I really hope that this is something that they implement quite quickly. Yeah,
I mean, it'll be good even if they absorb Hit Row in the process. I think that'd be good as well. Have it just to group it larger, because factions, they've done it correctly. They serve 2 purposes. They make the head of the faction even more of a star, and then everybody else involved gets that runoff and that rub from the main star, and they all get something to do, and it's a way to showcase guys, and you can have guys venture out from that faction and become stars on their own. So it's solid if it's done correctly. Noob & Co. says Cameron Grimes in the main roster will be fun. I really hope it will. Again, sometimes writing can kind of screw things up, and if they go too much in the well with what they've done previously with Cameron Grimes, that may hurt them. And again, there's a lot of people on the roster, so as long as he gets enough TV time and it's productive and well thought out TV time, I think, he'll be fun on the main roster. Also, Triple H better make the Hurt Business awesome. Yeah, he should, because that second iteration of the Hurt Business was kind of a disaster. It felt like they just did it, but they weren't really sure what to do with it when they did it. A team that never should have broke up to begin with. But I do think Triple H's hands, the Hurt Business can be extremely solid and keep Bobby Lashley relevant for months on end.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's real important to keep these guys relevant for months on end because, sometimes people get into a lull, especially after WrestleMania. They get into a lull and stuff gets kind of boring. And hopefully with the Hurt Business around, Bobby Lashley can stay relevant and stay important this entire time. Next topic. This is an interesting one. Mia Yim debuts on Monday Night Raw to be part of the OC and solve the Rhea problem. Now, it's another woman showing back up. We saw Emma a couple weeks back, and now Mia Yim is back into the fold more prominently than Emma is. But I think this also plays into the 24/7 title. So Dana Brooke was 24/7 champion for a long time. She loses to Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross throws that thing in the garbage where it belongs, but Dana Brooke has been talking about making that to kind of like a mid-card women's title rather than the 24/7 title. So I think these two things go hand in hand because the roster is continuing to grow, especially in the women's division when people coming back. With 24/7 being scrapped the way it was, do you think this opens up, along with the Mia Yim debut, opens up a mid-card title for the women? And would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I don't think it would be a mid-card title. I'd be surprised if they do it. It would make sense to do that. For me, it was an interesting sort of flashback to when Alundra Blaze and Medusa threw the title back into the women's title back in the WWE bin back in the day. Yeah, I don't think so. I think for me, it was an interesting move. I was a bit kind of shocked when Nikki Cross was winning it. I was like, oh my God, you're not putting her in this division already, but I was glad they got rid of it. In terms of Mia Yim, I think that was a great moment. It was great to get that payoff. I didn't see that coming. I think that was a nice swerve. This also delays the Beth Phoenix, Rhea Ripley thing that's been building as well, probably to WrestleMania or whatever they want to do. And I think this is good. My biggest fear of it is when R-Truth does come back from injury. I know he's injured for months now. He finds his title in the bin and then they continue it. If they've got any brains, call me crazy. I'd love somebody to find this title defaced or something. Let's have a hardcore title. I've been crying out for years. If WWE can get the hardcore title back now, they can do some fun work with it. It could be chaotic. They can do it in different locations. And this would give people something to do that are not doing anything on TV. You could have some real great matches. And if we are going back to that more 1998 style now, this is the time really to probably bring that title back for me.
Okay, so 24/7 title was like a poor man's kind of hardcore title. It took the same kind of principles behind it, but it was just a joke, and they didn't do it that same kind of fun way that we saw it being done with the hardcore title. I think they could be thinking of a mid-card women's title with this scrap because they just get this title out of the way because it was on a woman for such a long time with Dana Brooke, right? And then you have another woman beat her and win it and then throw it out. I don't think they'll treat it as just a throwaway like that. They'll just throw it out and then that'll be the end of it. Because obviously Dana Brooke came out and said that she was not happy with the way they threw it out in the garbage and the way they got rid of it. She's been vying for that title to be something of importance in the women's division. And I just think with all the women they're bringing back and having NXT that they may bring up, they're going to eventually need to do something, whether it be scrap the women's tag team titles and bring in the mid-card singles or just add a mid-card singles because you have so many women on the roster that don't really have a ton to do because they get a lot of time compared to AEW, but not as much time as the men do on WWE television. So it's one of those things, what do you do? It's a tough situation. Do you give the men another title by giving them a hardcore title, or do you throw in another women's title, but you run the risk of it being irrelevant like the women's tag titles are? But from start, it's starting the genesis of it under Triple H, it may be more important and be showcased better than the tag team titles were when they first were implemented.
Yeah, I think so. What's stopping you doing both? Why can you not have a hardcore title and then a women's middle title? You need something for the women to do. I agree. The women are not up there in the challenging for both women's world titles every month or every week. You need something to do. And the way they're adding women every single month or every single week at the moment, it would give them something to do. But I'm interested to see where this goes. I enjoyed sort of parts of it. I thought Nikki Cross was outstanding. Great to see her back in the ring. I really like the way that she's under this sort of possession, so to speak. They've got to do something with Uncle Howdy and her. There's got to be something. That's what I would do. She's the only one really that conveys this supernatural thing for me so far.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree. Numiko says, did everyone notice that Nikki Cross missed the trash can? She either lost her mind or she looks at the lights. It's kind of one of those things, right? Maybe that's maybe it was all planned, right? She misses it a little bit and then it's still like not completely thrown out in the garbage.
I love that Bayley was trying to keep a straight face. That was the best part of the segment. Bayley was trying not to laugh, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think her going to sort of damage control for a short while was a good move as well. And
Yes.
yeah, it wasn't bad, but it's one way to get rid of this title, so I'm quite happy with that at the moment. I thought it was a good move.
Yeah, I think everybody's rejoicing that the title's
Yeah.
gone because the title nobody liked and everybody thought was just pointless. And even when it was it was panned from the moment it was revealed by Mick Foley on that episode of Monday Night Raw, kind of a ploy on the hardcore title because it was 24/7, but just the look of it, the name of it, it was just it never hit the ground running, never worked, and it was just a joke from day one. All right, so Mia Yim is back. She's part of the OC. She's gonna be taking on Rhea Ripley. We're gonna be even in the odds there. And also 24/7 is gone. Could we see another iteration, women's title or hardcore title or something other than that? We'll see in the future. Next thing topic. The Theory burial. All right, so Austin Theory was that guy kind of handpicked by Vince McMahon. He was running around with Vince for a while leading up to last year's WrestleMania, and he kind of felt, he felt like he was handpicked to be the next, one of the next guys, right? Like the next John Cena or something like that, or next Roman Reigns. He felt like that Vince was pushing for this man to be that next person, obviously because of his look and his skill, his athleticism, everything like that. He wins Money in the Bank. He never feels at one point plausible of actually cashing that thing in and winning anything with it. So with the new regime in place, Theory decides to try to cash this in on Seth Rollins for the United States Championship and gets completely destroyed, and he's buried and he loses it. The fact I didn't even know you can cash that thing in on a mid-card title. I thought that thing was only for the world title. But either that was always the case or that they just kind of made it up on the fly. Theory's buried at this point with this new regime in place.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was wasteful. You spent all this time hyping Austin Theory. Yes, he's had the worst loss record in WWE. He's lost to everybody every single week consecutively. But yeah, for me, I thought it was stupid. Like, I get that you want to get rid of this. It's almost like Triple H might have said, we don't believe in this guy. We'll scrap everything Vince said to do. But this Money in the Bank briefcase next year has to mean something because this is the second time now you've just kind of thrown it away really in quick succession. Well, not quick succession, but for no purpose. But for me, I think the only thing they can do to kind of justify it is Austin Theory probably looked at Roman Reigns, goes, I can't get the job done there.
Yeah.
This is my best chance. Seth is weakened, so to speak. But yeah, clearly I don't know what the fin is with Austin Theory. The only thing I can think of is this is one way to get him to go back to the way, literally. I think that's probably the way they're going to go down. But it just didn't work for me. I thought it was a waste. Like, we've had this hype for months. Him showing up at Clash of the Castle, not able to get the job done. Him going missing for weeks, not doing anything. I just felt it was really stupid. Considering the Money in the Bank back in the day, look at Seth Rollins, the way he cashed in a WrestleMania. It means something. This would have been a great way to get the belt off Roman Reigns if you had chosen somebody that was suitable.
Well,
like Sami Zayn.
Yeah, the way you say it, right? The briefcase kind of doesn't mean anything at this point. So SCW says, is Money in the Bank also damaged with the briefcase now being able to be cashed in on any championship? No, I don't think the any championship part hurts it as much. I just think it's the way they book the person who holds it, because there can be years, I know we spoke about this a few episodes ago, there can be years that you have individuals who probably aren't to that level where the Money in the Bank is going to catapult them to that next tier. So it being able to be cashed in on mid-card titles kind of creates a way where the mid-card title becomes a little bit more important because of that. And also the person who wins it isn't pigeonholed to be like, I have to go for the world title. I have to get to that level. I'm not ready for that level, but I have to be ready for it because I'm going to get it, type of thing. So I think it gives you more options when it comes to who wins Money in the Bank and, where they cash it in on. And this could help also a women's mid-card title, because they could go for that title as well. Money in the Bank for the women, they cash it in on the mid-card title, may make that title more important. I don't think this hurts it. I think the way they did it hurts it. And the way they've been doing it for past years has hurt the briefcase in total.
Yeah, I think for me, the only thing I could try and make some logic out of this is that they want to have this Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania. If it was me and you had a brain, you'd have, if you want to get the belt of Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, just have whoever wins the Money in the Bank briefcase cash in at WrestleMania. That's one way to do it. Obviously, they obviously wanted to get rid of this briefcase as soon as possible so they could flip to that match, I believe. Yep. But this needs to be a tool to get the belt off Roman ultimately. Whoever wins this needs to be capable of beating Roman Reigns. And it works better with a heel. Although Austin Theory was a heel, he was just comedically bad, like getting owned by Tyson Fury, no consequence for that. Everyone's seeing him a mile away. And not period. If you was Austin Theory, look at that Clash of the Castle pay-per-view in Cardiff. If it was me and I was Austin Theory, you wouldn't have your music played to let everyone know you're coming out. You just turn up and cash in, you know what I mean? But there we go. But comedy gold. I thought it was all for the wrong reasons, really.
But that's one of those things nowadays when run-ins happen nowadays in current, at least in WWE, they always play the music. And it used to be they just show up and run in.
Let's get the
And
crowd going. I
yeah,
appreciate
it's
that.
just to get the pop, right? Just get the pop, like boom, you hear the music and everybody pops
Yeah.
for it, rather than the guy just coming out and doing it like that. So Numiko says, I mean, the most infamous moment of Austin Theory's title run with the Money in the Bank briefcase was being knocked out by Tyson Fury, as you alluded to, Jonesy. So that's the highlight of it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Numiko says, put the Money in the Bank match back at WrestleMania and make it special once again. Yeah, put it back where it began, where it was originally placed, where it was originally the match of the year. That's when you did it, because also the stage of WrestleMania elevates the match more, and whoever wins it, because they get their Mania moment, and you know that person is going to cash that in on the world title. But now it could be, brought throughout other titles on the card. It doesn't have to be the world title, but the stage, the event makes everything that much more special.
Yeah, it does. They've got to do that. Like, I think if they don't do that, they're idiots.
Yeah, to be stupid of them to do it, because the Money in the Bank
100%.
pay-per-view doesn't sell. Obviously, you saw they couldn't sell out, Allegiant Stadium, so they put it to MGM Grand last year, so it doesn't hold as much weight as they thought it did at one point. So it is what it is. Theory's buried as of right now. We'll see what happens. Does he get into the way again? Does they do the faction again? Is that another way to get him on TV, or does it go back to NXT? We'll see what happens with Theory going forward. But Bray Wyatt's first feud seems to be against LA Knight. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, for me, a sensible first feud. It's one that Bray can win quickly. I was a bit shocked. Like, the promos will be fine, but for me, where the hell has this come from? Like, none of Bray's hints have been
random,
about this. And for once, Uncle Howdy was able to be shut away for once, which was refreshing. But yeah, I didn't really pop for this, to be honest. I felt it was just a bit silly, really. We've had weeks of these cryptic hints, and none of them, as far as I could tell, alluded to this for me. But this would be a quick 2-minute win if it is Survivor Series, which is fine. But I just don't really know what the beef is really with Bray Wyatt and Eddie. I don't really know what the history is. It would make far more sense to have got a female wrestler to go after Alexa Bliss. Really, that's what I would have done from day one. Really.
Yeah, very random. Nothing was even hinted. Nothing gave you like hinted towards this happening. It was just boom. It just shows up during the LA Knight promo backstage, and that's kind of where it begins. I don't know. It's funny. It's odd. LA Knight, I believe, currently right now his iteration is supposed to be a good guy, right? Because he was beefing with Maximum Male Models, I guess, right?
Yeah. Wow, okay.
So you kind of felt like he would be the good guy in the situation, but he's just naturally such a heel. So I don't know. It's weird because obviously the way LA Knight is, he's obviously more heelish, but Bray Wyatt, we don't really know if he's good or bad at this point. So it's kind of one of those things: is who's the good guy, who's the bad guy? Because I always kind of like to break it down. That's the genesis of every feud in professional wrestling, is who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. So it's a weird feud, but it's obviously an easy win for him. Does it hurt LA Knight, right? Does it put LA Knight kind of like in a spot where it's like he's not really gonna do much coming after this? And how does Uncle Howdy play into this feud?
So Uncle Howdy, this is the theory I've got. This is what I've figured over the last sort of 24 hours since saw SmackDown. Was I'm pretty sure nobody else can see Uncle Howdy, which is why he didn't make a cameo on SmackDown. If you look at it logically, Bray's the only one that can see him. But for me, I don't really know how this fits in the White Six. This is obviously a small feud or a small layer of a first match. But for me, I thought they would delay on this. It wouldn't surprise me really if this is just thrown away. If Bray just attacks loads of different wrestlers rather than do this singles feud. I think that'll be far better because his big match should be at WrestleMania. Really, that's where you want to have this big return and stuff like this. But I was just confused because it did. Bear in mind, the last thing we saw was Alexa Bliss get sort of taunted on the Saudi show, and there wasn't really little or no follow up of that. So I have no idea where they're going. I'm kind of lost with this already, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost. I want to throw something out there for you, though. Do you think that in the Royal Rumble, we could get a lot of members of the Wyatt Six maybe coming out into the match itself? Like
Mick Foley, three different gimmicks, basically.
Yeah.
You would hope so, but I don't think so. The thing is, you're going to have to, if you want to do this over a certain storyline, you're going to have to start paying this off. The only one we do know is Bo Dallas is signed. So Bo Dallas is obviously going to come back, and it's how that fits in. But Bray, I've got no idea where we are with this. The only thing that's been consistent as well is this White Rabbit thing. That's in every vignette, kind of this, what looks to be a rabbit a little bit, but it would make sense. It'd be cool to see them in the Rumble, but I don't see it, mate. I think it's going to be a slow reveal and them helping Bray when he needs it. When Bray's kind of his back's against the wall, this is the point. But you've still got, obviously, Uncle Harper to come in as well, which I don't know how they're going to do that. That's obviously going to be the other mask, probably, in Bray's mind.
Here we go. But like, he wouldn't need any of their help against LA Knight, so we probably won't get any reveals of anything like that. Because
I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why this match is happening. It's two great promos. Don't get me wrong. It's an easy feud for Bray to win, but if you told me this was his first match back after the White Rabbit campaign, I would have thought you're crazy You need to be locked away.
One of the
Definitely.
last guys you would have thought, right? Like that.
Yeah.
If you would have handpicked somebody, just had to
Yeah.
pop it out of your mind, it's one of the last guys you would have.
Look at the level of LA Knight as well. He's not a main eventer. This is just somebody that's trying to recover after that horrific stable, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's not really a good look. So Nubikos agrees. Why put Bray Wyatt on a random feud with LA Knight, who is white hot at this time, instead of continue to facing with Uncle Howdy? Maybe this is just kind of like a way to get him in the ring so Uncle Howdy can present himself during the match, and then it's a throwaway match
Can't
kind
do
of
that.
thing.
They've got no way of doing that unless they're going to go back to the whole Thunderdome of sort of Bray being there and nobody can see it. And it's sort of, do you remember the whole thing where Shayna be slaughtered by Lily, where you can't actually see anything? That's the only way we could do it, particularly if Uncle Harper is going to be Bray, which it is Bray, unless they're going to put somebody else under the mask. I have no idea where it's going. I thought I had a figure on it last week, but mate, it's getting more and more weird week on week. I'm enjoying it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it's almost like they're making up as they go along, I think.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's intriguing, right? That's the word I put it. It's intriguing because we're always talking about it, wondering what's going to happen, speculating on what's going to happen. But the fact that it's just so odd and so doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. You have the intriguingness about it and the suspense of trying to find out what's going to happen, but then also of it not making any sense whatsoever at the current time. So you're kind of like in this weird spot. Is like I like it because it's kind of intriguing. It's mysterious, and I'm trying to figure it out on my own. I'm kind of being a detective about it, but also what the hell is going on?
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing with it, I'm hoping sort of in the next month. This is the last pay-per-view at Survivor Series. This is really the point to start really leaving a big cliffhanger because you can't do anything to January now. So this is the point really at Survivor Series where he has to do something more than a door coming out of a door and giving a riddle from like the 50s or something like that. It has to be something meaning more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to be because, like you said, you have to get us intrigued at Survivor Series to hold us off until the Royal Rumble is the next big pay-per-view. Unless you're going to do something in between, which I doubt they will.
They won't. I don't know. The thing is, obviously, they're going to build this up on Raw and SmackDown to whatever. But I think it's been harmed a little bit because he's not on Raw every single week and we're only getting on SmackDown. It's once a week, which is it makes you kind of miss out. You kind of by the time it gets round, it's like you're excited for it, but you're like it would be so much better if it was on both shows. Particularly the time they've got to fill on to Raw, it would be a good fit.
Yeah, it's weird how they just choose to have the brand split like convenient whenever it's convenient for them. SCW says, I like that LA Knight didn't look out of place next to WWE's top talent. He will not because of just his look and his mic skills alone. I think he was good in
NXT. He was good in sort of NXT and TNA, wasn't he? He was excellent in TNA.
Yeah, he's tremendous on the mic. Even though I saw an interview with him with Chris Van Vliet. It's one of those things where it's like he does sound a lot like The Rock in his cadence and the way he speaks, and he says that's just the way he speaks. Sometimes it feels like he's trying to be too much like The Rock. I'm an LA Knight guy. I like him a lot. His mic skills, his look. I think he's a star. Is he a main eventer? Maybe one day at one point, like for a short spurt. But I think he's another one of those mid-card guys who could be vying for those mid-card titles. And I would love for them to create a mid-card titles, scenario or landscape where there's a lot of guys who all vie for that title and can all win it.
I think that's the Intercontinental title. To be honest as well, Anthony, we didn't discuss this on the notes, but this is another story this week as well, which I've just thought about as well to tell you, is, this whole World Cup, the whole point of that really is the Intercontinental title. So this really is a testing ground. Depending on how many tweets and stuff like that and YouTube views, this is a testing ground for the King of the Ring. They basically want to do the King of the Ring again, and they're just using this tournament format to see what the response is. But if this goes well, the King of the Ring will be coming back as well, which I'm a fan of that. I think to do that as a pay-per-view, it was so good back in the 90s.
Now, does I'm a huge fan of King of the Ring too as well. Does that hurt? Like, does that having that and Money in the Bank all at the same time period kind of, do they cancel each other out? Are they both good things to have at the same time? Not meaning at the same time, like during the calendar year, but same time in the same company at the same time.
I think it's a good thing if you give the right person the lift. There has to be somebody that can win the world title that goes on. Like the first one I'd say is Cody Rhodes. Like that's going to be an instant one that could do it. Seth Rollins can instantly do it. But I liked it back in the day where you got somebody like a Stone Cold Steve Austin from nowhere, obscurity to whatever reason. I'm not saying you could do that with every single person, make him Stone Cold Steve Austin, but this was a great tool back in the 90s to get your next world champion and get somebody up there that's from a wherever to the main eventer. I think they need to do that really. But look for it to come back if this goes well, the World Cup especially.
And the people they have in the World Cup, it's okay. The people they chose.
It's a Braun Strowman tournament.
That's the thing. That's the issue with it, right? It's like Braun Strowman's there. It's one of those things that we heard. I don't know if you heard Jeff Jarrett shot at Braun Strowman on Dynamite, when he was out there with his crew. He took a shot at the skinny red jeans that he wears, and showing his real monster, not the fake one that is supposedly Braun Strowman, according to Jeff Jarrett. But Yeah, I don't like him being in it. That's kind of the issue I have with it. And I also didn't like Shinsuke being eliminated so quickly. I think they should have separated Shinsuke and Escobar so that it wouldn't be so quickly him being eliminated.
Yeah, I think the trouble with it, you've obviously got that feud going on, and the thing with Shinsuke, depending on obviously the landscape of how long this tournament's going to last, we've got this match against Great Muta coming up in Noah in January.
Yep.
Maybe there was that slight concern of that, but for me, I thought it was a great tournament. I think in ring it looks fine, but the minute I saw Braun Strowman, I was like, what the hell? Unless he's going to be taken out, you can rule out Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn won't be going very far in the tournament. I don't think so. It's all it leaves really is Braun Strowman, whoever else. But if they're clever, get Braun Strowman counted out, get somebody who can actually wrestle for the Intercontinental title, because Braun Strowman and Gunther will be okay. Don't get me wrong, but it'd be good to see somebody else. Whoever's going to win this, they obviously generally believe can compete with Gunther.
That's the thing, I like it. That's obviously because of the World Cup going on next week, the actual World Cup. That's why they decided to call this the World Cup and probably do it now. But yeah, testing ground, and hopefully this does prove fruitful for the return of the King of the Ring. And I hope they bring back the pay-per-view and not just have it Monday Night Raw, SmackDown matches. Like you could do that into the lead up, but the final bracket of the last, let's say like the quarterfinal, semifinal, and final need to be part of a King of the Ring pay-per-view, which they need to bring back.
Yep, they do.
It seems as if he's going to be bringing back Triple H, that is bringing back these older name pay-per-views and these kind of, similar type pay-per-views. I hope they go back to using different sets and theme sets for each one. They won't, right? I hope so.
It's the cost of taking all the stuff, unfortunately, even though they're able to go to Saudi Arabia and take a £5,000 door.
Exactly.
Literally, I'm joking. But yeah, I'd love to see the sets, mate. That's a great part of sort of the 90s was these sets every single month and the wrestlers interacting with them. And you are going to get your big sets at WrestleMania and some of the premium live events, but it should be every single pay-per-view as a minimum for me. You should do it every single pay-per-view.
Yeah. I don't understand why now it's like too much money for them. Before it was fine to bring all that craziness. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. But whatever. That's Bray Wyatt. That's his first feud. It's an odd one. It's one that's completely out of left field. Nobody thought this was going to be it. Who knows how long it's going to last? It could be one match and then that's it. But we'll see where it goes. Now, next topic. Let's talk some War Games. So, you saw on SmackDown the Bloodline brawling with the Brawling Brutes. Sheamus's return. Drew McIntyre coming out. Is this the War Games match of the men's that we're going to get? I think it's. And what do you think of it? Because we were thinking it was going to be the OC and Judgment Day because that one was the feud that warranted the most, that matchup. But now it seems like this is the way they're going to go with War Games.
This is definitely the War Games match. You can add Sami Zayn into this War Games match. So what it'll be what we saw on Friday night. There is still one person unnamed to go on the other side. I think there isn't really that many characters. Unless you're going to bring somebody brand new in. It seems to be everybody that's been pissed off by the Bloodline. So the one for me would be Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of this. I think this would be a great match. In ring, it's fine. I would love to see this be built up more. Like Drew all of a sudden seems to care about Solo Sikoa. Drew hasn't cared about Solo Sikoa for weeks, ever since he interfered in the match at Clash of Castle. But I think this will be a fine match. I really hope there's some stipulation that gets Roman having to put the title online here, or the winner gets some sort of shot at Roman Reigns potentially. But for me, I'm excited to see what they do. This may be the point where there's a fallout in the Bloodline. This could be a good way to get Sami Zayn out of it. I think this could be a good point for everyone to turn on Sami. I don't know if they're going to do that because Sami at the moment is holding this stable together. He's like the best thing. I say that every week.
Yeah, no, it is true. He's the glue that's holding it all together at this point. I also think Jey Uso's kind of, also
Jay's really good.
He's so good. He's so underrated, and so he's really, really good at what he does. But I think it's just lackluster, right? I understand. Now, you do it because you want to have the champion and your number one storyline to be the focal point and the main event of War Games being on the main roster for the first time ever. But it just doesn't it feels rushed. It feels kind of random, especially whoever the mystery person is going to be for the babyface team. It has to be somebody super important. You'd assume it'd be Kevin Owens. But I just think it's rushed too fast. And I don't think I think it's going to hurt the match just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. The problem is if this had real hatred and real heat, they haven't been able to keep that going because of obviously the Saudi Arabia show, Extreme Rules in the interim. This should have really been building for a while. Obviously, Sheamus got written off for a while, which is fine. But for me, as I said on last week's show, this would have been the point really to have Bloodline be attacked in Saudi. That should have been the point of where they're getting jumped. And this is the point of this. This is everybody that can't get the job done. And it will be in ring. That's not the side of it. In ring, it'll be fine. But this really would have been nice to see a War Games match built up with that hatred. Back in the day, we had WCW, NWO. There was real kind of hatred there. You could tell. And DX versus Heart Foundation, there's real hatred there. We just haven't really got that heat at the moment, which for me, I think Drew is a good addition. This mystery person, let's see what they do with that. I think Kevin Owens is the one you got to do. They may do Seth Rollins as well. That's one potentially they may do, but let's see where it goes with this. I'm looking forward to seeing how this pays off, but I'm surprised this is the match for WarGames. I'm really shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too. And they missed the opportunity probably at the Saudi show, Crown Jewel, for maybe Drew McIntyre to try to cost Roman Reigns the title, as Solo Sikoa cost him the match. Maybe him try to obviously unsuccessfully, but bring him back into the fold a little bit before you do this by having him interfere in that match and try to cost the match for Roman, have Logan Paul try to win, maybe something like that in kind of a payback thing. Obviously it wouldn't have gone the way he wanted it to, but at least you get him in there so it doesn't feel like, oh, you don't remember. We have to remember from Clash of the Castle that Solo screwed him in that match. You're forcing the fans to kind of go back and think about why he's in this situation, why he's coming out to help take on the bloodline.
Yeah, let's see what they do. I think this will be a fun match, but there's got to be consequences to this match. Something's got to come out of it. I think if the bloodline stand tall at the end of it, it serves no purpose. This is the point really for the baby faces to get some sort of momentum. You can get credible challengers for the tag team titles out of this. You can get Roman on his knees a little bit, which is fine. And you could get Sami Zayn out of the bloodline if you do it all well. A lot can be told in this one match. If they do it and the bloodline run tall and dominate, what was the purpose? It's just like what we've seen for the rest of the year so far.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And it's obviously going to be the main event of the show. I understand as to why they did it. I just felt like OC and Bloodline seem to have warranted the most. It's going to be interesting to see who the mystery person is and, how it all plays in, how they build up from now, because they don't have much time to build up to WarGames from now because they just started this now. Tino, what's up, Tino? Thank you for joining us, brother. Says LA Knight, Bray gave him chills. I guess.
Yeah, it's good. It's fine. Good. If you enjoy it, it's good. Whatever you enjoy.
Let's start the women's WarGames match, right? So we have now. I do like how they're going back to 5v5 WarGames, right? That's what we're getting. Now we have 3 individuals who are a mystery as of right now in the women's match. So you have Damage Control plus Nikki Cross, then a mystery, and then you have Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Bianca Belair with 2 mystery partners. What do you got? Who do you think is going to be those 3 mystery women?
We got a banner. We got another drop another banner here now. So this one here, the original, what they're pitching. There's two scenarios here. So the first one they're pitching, which is kind of obvious, is Rhea Ripley to join Bayley's team. That's something they're doing. On the other side, you'll see Mia Yim and Candice. Candice obviously has been doing some stuff. On the other side, what they're looking at as well, this is what they're working on secretly, is Sasha Banks and Naomi to come back. It's looking good, like they're in negotiations for them two to be the mystery people. You still get Rhea Ripley on the other side. I think this is a perfect spot for Sasha to come back. It does overpower the baby faces slightly, but if they can't do it, look for the other 2. But this is what it is. Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim, to be fair, I'm not too sure how they're going to do that or what's going to happen there. I think that may still happen in the OC match to a certain point. That may play into it, but Rhea Ripley's the one that apparently is going to be joining the sort of the hillside at the moment. This is what they're pitching at the moment, I believe.
That makes total sense. Now, the continuity of it, right? So I think they should probably just bring back Sasha and then put Mia Yim still on that team.
Yeah, I think they should do that.
Sasha, right? Instead of Naomi, because logistically doesn't make sense, because you have, if you're going to have Rhea in that match, you kind of have to have Mia Yim in that match because of the current, circumstances of the landscape.
So that's what I agree with you. I think that makes sense. Prime example, Sasha is getting ready. She trained with Yuta Guerrera this week. So she's definitely getting ready. And everything I've heard is that they're definitely trying to get her back desperately. And they want her back at Boston. So if it is her, if we still get this mystery entrance, they're the 2 I think will be Naomi and Sasha. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think this match in will be really, really fun. I just really hope we get Sasha and Naomi, to be fair. I think Sasha and Mia Yim would be far better based on the logistics. Yeah. And let's just see what they do with this. I'm really looking forward to see how they get Rhea Ripley into the match, because at the moment she's apparently in the internal schedule. She's written down to be in the match.
You said Sasha's training right now with the Juice? Who was the girl?
She's into Guerrero this week. Yeah.
Man, I'm a huge I love the Juice.
I met once.
He's the man. He's hilarious, that guy. Numiko says the women's WarGames is going to be interesting, especially with Asuka and Io Sky, even though there's no real hatred, but there's real history with those as evidence from the Provo between the 2 last week.
Yeah, there is. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I'm really hoping this is a point for Bayley to come good and finally get the job done. But if Sasha's in the match, the baby faces are winning.
Yeah, there's no, which sucks for Damage Control. They've taken a lot of L's lately, so Tino says Kevin's got to be the last member of Team Brawling Brutes. Yeah, no, it makes sense for him to be in there. You got him and Sammy going against each other as well. It seems to be like no matter every time in the end, they're gonna end up meeting each other. Sammy and KO just always seems like that. It's like they're in an eternal loop with each other. Tino says, "Noob, we need subtitles if they start talking." Yes, that's something they should implement. WWE, because of that. I think they should do the subtitles because then I think we will connect with them a little bit more, right? Because if you
I
don't speak
agree.
the language, you can't connect as much. You can just connect in terms of their in-ring stuff, but in terms of that, you kind of want to connect more. So just do subtitles. I don't know why they don't do it.
I agree, 100%. Bring the subtitles in. It would benefit all of them much better.
It definitely would. So that's WarGames. That's where it seems to be headed. Men's not in the direction we thought it was going to go, but that's where we're going to get. And we still have a lot of surprises on the women's side. So it's going to be a huge, huge event. I mean, huge, especially if Sasha's the one to come back. That's a massive event. But we'll see what happens going forward. Let's talk quickly on Saraya and the Britt Baker promo. I thought it's simple, right? It's a simple promo. It kind of writes itself because obviously Saraya is going to bring up all the stuff she's gone through, and then Britt's going to play up, the fact that she's been there since the beginning. It's cookie cutter in terms of the situation that they're both in, but it was well done, and I had no problems with it. It was good, and the match is going to happen. It's quick, but it's going to happen.
I'm looking forward to the match. The promo for me was all over the place. I thought it was okay. I think the biggest problem I have with this is you've got Saraya saying it's her house. She's been in the house for 2 minutes. Britt's done more than anybody else in AEW.
Yep.
I think it didn't do any favors for Britt Baker. It made Britt Baker not look particularly strong. We presume Saraya's probably going to be going over. It would make sense first match for her to go over. And I just felt this promo was all over the place. I get she's going to be emotional. You got real passion brought into it, but I felt it kind of lost me a bit. I think when she's gone about this is my house, all this lot, it just seemed ridiculous. It's almost like if you're not in WWE, you haven't made it. That's what we're getting again. We got this when CM Punk debuted as well. CM Punk came to AEW. It was almost like if you've never been to WWE, you've never been anywhere. And I think whenever they bring AEW down a bit, this doesn't help it. I think for me, they should have kept Britt Baker on the same level, which they didn't do really. But I enjoyed it. It's great she's been cleared, and this first match will be fun. I'm hoping it goes well for her. It's great to see her back in the ring. And I think the promo was just a bit ropey for me. I think nothing showing passion, but a lot of the translation seemed to be lost to me by the end of it. I kind of switched off. I was like, she's just shouting and ranting about stuff that we've got the picture of it last week really already.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that it's just no way for them to bring in superstars and WWE tropes and stuff like that. They love doing that kind of stuff. And the more you get people that show up from the other company and immediately are thrusted into a feud with somebody prominent in AEW, is the more you lean too much on this WWE tropes that you like to bring up and these shots at WWE, and you're hurting your own product, like bringing it down, like you said, but you're also very petty. Look very petty because you keep throwing shots at WWE, but then you just put them kind of like on a pedestal, and then you're kind of punching up. It's weird. It's a weird, like, I don't know. It's odd. It's so strange the way they do that. It doesn't make much sense to me. It's so weird. It's like, you never done anything if you were never in WWE, so you're bringing down AEW like you said, but then also she's punching up by trying to throw shots at WWE. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with passion, as I said earlier. There's supposed to have a passionate promo, but when you're always comparing everything to WWE, you want to be AEW. You don't want to be WWE. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of the things. But I think the match would be good, and I think this could tell some good stories. Look for Saraya to win, and hopefully Jamie Hayter gets the job done as well, and then that could be a match. I think the two Brits can have a fantastic match at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, it'll be good. SCW says Britt won that promo battle this week. Also, he says spot on, Jonesy. AEW fans found themselves siding with the heel based on those comments from Saraya.
Yeah, don't want nothing like a passionate promo. I'm cleared all this lot. The crying is fine. You've got to add real emotion to it. Some of the greatest promos have got real emotion, but when you're just saying you're nothing, and why do I want to see you face your opponent if you're telling me they're nothing? It just takes away from it a little bit. It's just a small thing, really. I'm glad you enjoyed the promo.
No, I thought it was because like it's the reason I enjoy the promo is because it makes sense, right? The promo to me makes sense in that aspect, right? Because it's like, she has the emotion of coming back. It's a very basic promo if you look at it, right? Basic thought process and thinking behind it. Very basic. So I like the fact that it's basic and simple because it gets to the point of the feud, right? That's what it is. But you are correct in your assessment of it. Like if you weren't in WWE, you didn't do anything, right? Kind of thing. And I agree with you. It's my house and thing like that. It's kind of like, I mean, it's just a good catchphrase. It's like it's my yard with the Undertaker, right? Even though it makes more sense.
Was that her WWE catchphase by any chance? Sorry, I might be missing something.
Yeah, my house thing. Yeah. This is my house.
So she's bringing that from WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
Into AEW.
So I mean, it flows, right? Because you know her for that. So you're relying on things that people know you for, right? So yeah, that's cool. That's why I enjoyed it in that aspect. But again, there's like weird continuity things and logic issues with that promo because of what you said, and then also the fact that they love just they find any way to take a shot at WWE. Anyway, and that's just something that people have said about them that they got to go away from. But it seems like that's all they have at some points.
Yeah, I guess so. That's the thing. I think, as I said, I think this pay-per-view going into it, I'm excited. I think this is a real good chance to see Saraya debut. And if this is Saraya we've seen before, she's had years and years of wrestling experience, as you said. Great to see her back. That's the most important thing, though. Great to see her back, and let's see what she can do. I think this could be a really, really good first match. Britt Baker's a really solid worker as well. And just let's see how they do this, how they get this match over and protect Britt Baker at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think the match, the feud should be like kind of drawn out a little bit more, but it's just it's just
they're
the
rushing,
way,
aren't they?
it's just logistics thing, right? It's just like she shows up here, and then you kind of only have this X amount of time to get to the next pay-per-view because you have so much time in between pay-per-views. It is what it is.
To be fair, let's defend AEW a little bit.
Yep.
They only knew she was cleared on Halloween, supposedly. She was cleared for some sort of contact. The proper clearance was Halloween, supposedly, when she got cleared. They haven't had long to sort of rush into this, but they want to sell the pay-per-view, and this is, you want to get people talking about your product, and this is what AEW have done in history, besides having some fantastic matches. Whenever they want people to talk, they're bringing new wrestlers in. Yeah. Almost like, this is my new toy to use. And that's kind of where it kind of goes. But I think you'll enjoy yourself with the pay-per-view anyway. 100%.
No, it's gonna be fun to see it happen and everything. That's gonna be interesting to see how she is in terms of ring shape and if she's rusty and stuff like that. It's been a while since he's had a match. But it's cool. But it's just one of those things. I'm more interested to see, honestly, what happens after, because AEW has this problem where they bring in new people, they shotgun them to something big, and then they don't really know what to do with them afterwards. So I'm interested to see what happens to Saraya going after this, because she obviously probably has to win. But let's give our final Full Gear thoughts before we end the stream. What are your final thoughts on Full Gear as it is this Saturday coming up?
I'm excited. There's a lot of matches, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of, they seem to have built up a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing, as I said earlier, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks come back. I think that'll be good. And I'm hoping they've got some surprises lined up. Like, I get that most of the pay-per-views we've had people sort of come in and return and do stuff like that. This will just be, as I said earlier, a good chance really to reset. And if MJF doesn't win the belt, I think I could actually be done with AEW, to be honest. This is the time for Jon Moxley to lose the belt. MJF is perfect. My only slight real concern is MJF obviously has started this week filming movies. He's in the Von Erich movie. They have this fear at the back of their mind he may go to Hollywood more, which is, I don't know how that plays on. So it brings eyes on to AEW TV, so to speak. But for me, really want to see some storytelling in that main event. I think if MJF does it, he has to do it either twisted, and he has to do it as a heel fashion. If he does it as a babyface and wins clean, that's fine. But MJF as a heel is where I want to see, really. I think MJF with William Regal is the dream for me. I think I've been saying that for weeks. Like I said for weeks about Bobby Lashley, MJF with William Regal helping him is the thing you have to do, in all honesty. This is the way to end this feud, and this is a way really to get MJF to that next level.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's one, like, he had a great promo where they showed him on the Part of My Take podcast.
Yeah, on the podcast,
he was there. It was really well done. The guy is like just amazing on the mic. I do hope they continue to go in that heel route with him. They don't venture off into something babyface related. I just don't think it'll work. Him and, like we said before, him and Regal that's the way to go. Have Regal turn on Moxley, have Moxley go away for a while, I think, too, as well. I think Moxley just, he went away and then came back because of the rehab stuff, but I think just the fact that he's been such a transitional champion, and it'd be like, oh, we need somebody to win the belt now because something happened to the current champion. He's the guy. I think that stigma that he's got right now needs to be kind of washed off by him going away for a bit and then coming back in something more meaningful. So have him get turned on by William Regal, and then that he goes away and comes back and gets his revenge months later down the line. But the event's gonna be fun. It's going to be long because that's just AEW. They have everybody on the card, but I do feel like it's going to be one of those reset pay-per-views. You're going to have a lot of things just kind of reset and the landscape kind of change because right now AEW is in this weird spot where everything that happened post All Out is just really screwed them over big time and really soured their product. And I just think this is a prime opportunity for them to reset everything and kind of give everybody a palate cleanser so that we can forget about all the nonsense going on backstage and the stuff that's gone down, and kind of give us a new refreshed AEW and get us back interested again. Because like we said in the beginning of the stream, AEW hasn't felt that noteworthy in the last month or so, where you're coming out of the show and you're like talking about everything that's happening on the show.
Yeah, I get you can't go out and sign Roman Reigns every single month. I totally appreciate that, but there's nothing to stop you creating future storylines. And let's just not make it so predictable that it's just title changes where we're going nowhere. But this is a real good opportunity to really paint a picture, because coming out of this should give a real good indication of where we're going for that Winter Has Fallen show later on in December.
Yeah.
Or Winter's Coming, sorry. But I really hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hearing next week the live reaction to see how it differs live to watching it on television. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. The crowd over there in that area, my area is pretty raucous. So that tri-state area, so it's gonna be fun. But Full Gear live Saturday, November 19th. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what surprises AEW has in store for us, and see what surprises we have in store for you guys next Sunday for the Rasslin Report. I appreciate, as per usual, Jonesy joining me like always on the Rasslin Report. Any final words, Jonesy?
No, hope everyone has a good week. Enjoy the rest in ahead, and yeah, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank everybody for joining us in the chat with your questions, comments, and everything. Appreciate all the people that joined us for the stream, and we'll catch you guys on the next one for another episode of the Rasslin Report.